How's it going, everybody? My name is Warner Fields with Fields of Profit. I'm a six-figure Amazon seller and full-time student, and in this video I'm going to be showing you some insights as far as the financial requirements for running an Amazon business. I'm going to be showing you the amount of capital you're going to need for various kinds of business models, and then also what phrases like ROI, what profit margin means exactly for your business as far as planning your cash flow for the future. It's a little more maybe technical, but I'm going to try to keep it as simple as I possibly can so that you can really get a good insight into how your spending really translates to profit in the long run. In this video, I'm going to be giving some value to your business for free. So if you're going to help by now and hit that subscribe button down below, that'd be great. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is something I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with and know what it means, but I'm going to break down exactly what it means for your business and how to leverage the power of knowing what ROI really means. For those of you who don't know what ROI is, ROI is just the capital you start with, and then you multiply that by 1 plus your ROI. And then in the end, that's going to be your ending capital, which is going to be made up of the money you started with plus your profit. And then out of that comes your expenses and all that good stuff. But if you buy, for an Amazon business, if you buy 1 month's worth of inventory, if that inventory is ROI or X% ROI, you're going to have X% more money on whatever you invested in that product at the end of the month. For example, if you spend $500 worth of product and it has 35% ROI, at the end of the month, you're going to have $675, and then it just snowballs after that. So next month, you'd be able to hopefully replenish that product and then just keep going on that 35%, get another product that has another percentage ROI just like that, and then you're just going to use this power to go ahead and snowball your capital into something a lot bigger. So with that said, we're going to talk about the different ways you can sell on Amazon and exactly how much capital you're going to need for these different business models. Because each of these different business models has a different role to play with how ROI works and how your time costs work. So the first business model I'm going to talk about, I'm going to suggest that you start with about $400 just to pay for the softwares you're going to need and a good amount of inventory. So my average ROI in books is 206%. And then if you're also only doing the thrifting model of books, this is going to be way higher. This 206% includes my acquisitions of books to flip with softwares like eFlip and FlipMine, as well as buying textbooks from students in my area. And those are not those $1, $2 thrift store purchases. So that's why that ROI is a little lower. But if you're just doing thrifting, your ROI is going to be even higher than mine. So let's say you spend $250 in your first month on books. That's going to be about 100 to 200 books. And then, so after 1 month, that $250 is going to be $765, given that average ROI. But this assumption doesn't quite work with books as well as it does with online arbitrage and wholesale that I'll talk about in just a second, because those books are going to be held up in your inventory for a lot longer. But in the long run, that $250 you spent is going to be $765, but maybe after a year, it's just $765 in potential profit or potential money that you'll have. So a little over $500 potential profit is what you could expect from that. Because with books, you can expect about 1 to 2% of your inventory to sell every day. If you are above that, great. If you're below that, you should probably audit your inventory, create some removal orders to get some of that slower moving stuff, especially with the new inventory restrictions. You're going to want to make sure that you're maximizing the inventory that you have at the warehouse. But that's just a little breakdown of how the spending on books would work for that. If you're going to get into books, you need to be aware that the time cost is high. I always recommend books for people who have not a lot of capital, but a lot of time to learn a new business model. Books is also great to start out because you're only spending $1 to $2 a book. Versus an online arbitrage or wholesale product where you could be spending thousands on a product. Another reason I recommend you start out with a couple $100s rather than just not really a whole lot is because of the softwares you're going to need. You're going to need Keepa to inform your pricing decisions, and you're also going to need Scout IQ. Scout IQ is a must. Keepa you can get away with for a week or two without having it, but you're going to have it as soon as possible. Scout IQ, it's pretty much not worth your time to go out and source if you're just using the Amazon seller app with books, because Scout IQ is also going to show you a lot more information than that seller app scan could show you, just in the amount of time that it would take. Definitely get Scout IQ if you're serious about sourcing. If you go out literally 2-3 times a month, Scout IQ is going to pay for itself against using the Amazon seller app. It'll pay for itself within the first hour or two of sourcing books one day. And that's just going to give you that power to source books really quickly. The next business model I'm going to talk about is online arbitrage. This is what I've been doing a lot of lately, as well as a little bit of wholesale. I'm going to recommend that you have at least $1,000 to start in online arbitrage. So if you don't have that, maybe start out in books or start out flipping things on eBay, something like that, until you have your first $1,000, and then try out online arbitrage. My average ROI in online arbitrage is 35%. Now you're thinking that's a lot lower than books, right? But it's really easy to spend $1,000. Like before filming this video today, I worked online arbitrage for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and I spent over $2,000 on one website. So it's super easy to spend that money, and that's why I like doing online arbitrage. So after that first month, unlike books where that 206% is going to turn into that almost triple your money by the end of the period that all those investments come into play. Online arbitrage, you can pretty predictably guarantee that you can multiply your money by 30 to 40%. My average is 35%. I know some people who are higher or lower depending on what you're going for. So that $1,000 pretty immediately becomes $1,350, and the next month it becomes $1,350 times 1.35, and so on, until you've got a pretty substantial business. And you can also, if you have more capital to start with, you can see how easy it really would be to go ahead and build a pretty good sized business off of just online arbitrage because of how sustainable it is. In my mind, I would say that online arbitrage has a pretty low time cost versus books, where you have to go out and source each book individually. Online arbitrage, you can find a product, and then in a best case scenario, you can just keep buying that product over and over and over again. I have some products that I've been buying just from Walmart.com for about 6 months now, and they've stayed profitable. A lot of times those profits will kind of tank over time. And you just have to find new products to put your money into. But you can find those replenishables that you don't have to go out like where books, you have to find that one-off and one-off and one-off again and again and again. Whereas online arbitrage, you can kind of build a catalog slowly of replenishables that you can just consistently restock on. For online arbitrage, you absolutely need Keepa at $17 a month. That's a bargain for what you get it for. I believe the price on Keepa is going up if you want to go ahead and get that soon. But that's just what I've heard. You also are going to need BeCool. BeCool is a very powerful repricer. The name of the game with online arbitrage is cycling your capital as fast as possible, same as wholesale. So you're going to need that repricer to be on top of that listing, making sure that you're always in the buy box as much as possible. And that's only $25 a month with the basic plan. I use BeCool myself. I use the AI version. I think it's really powerful. It is pretty expensive. It's about $100 a month, but you can start with this $25 a month, especially if you're only starting with $1,000. That's something I'll talk about here with tactical arbitrage. Tactical arbitrage is super good to have, but the subscription cost is $90 a month. So if you're only starting with $100 or $1,000, that's going to eat up 10% of the potential ROI you would have, or a third of your ROI, a 10% of that initial starting capital every month. So that $1,350 would become $1,250, and so on. And so it's going to kind of limit your ability to snowball. But tactical arbitrage is almost a necessity to have when you're sourcing for online arbitrage. You'll hear most people say that it's an absolute necessity. I have a little bit of a manual method that I will show you at the end of this video. Just a quick little tutorial on how to source for online arbitrage without using tactical arbitrage. I'll just go ahead and jump into that right now real quick. I'll give you a quick demo on how I find manual searches for online arbitrage so that you don't have to use tactical for maybe your first 2 or 3 products. So this is just going to be a really quick tutorial on this so that I don't make the video too long. Step 1, search a brand that is a retail store's private label. So in this case, I'm going to search for Great Value so that these sellers on this listing are all buying this product from Walmart. And what this means is we're going to get sellers who are doing online arbitrage or retail arbitrage, because no one is going to be able to have wholesale accounts with Walmart to get these Great Value products. So I'm going to click through on people that have FBA listings. So I'm going to check out this guy, and then I'm going to look at his storefront. So now I've found a seller who's likely selling online arbitrage, and then from here I'm just going to go ahead and copy his top selling products. This guy's only got 13 products, so I'm going to see what we can pull up with this search here. Looks like Walmart has it out of stock over here. Right here it's $368, but let's see if we can find this one right here just real quick. But this is just the general process. If I can't find one of these products really quickly, I'm just going to move on. But you're just going to find that OA seller, and then you're going to search through his backlog of products, find his best stuff, and then just kind of steal his best listings. And then once you get this down with maybe 3 to 5 products, you can go ahead and get into tactical arbitrage. And then if you do want to go ahead and check out tactical arbitrage, I've got videos up above, and I also will put the link down to that below. I can give you an extended trial on that if you're interested in that, and that also helps me out. But let's jump into the next business model, which is wholesale. So the last business model I'm going to talk about as far as capital requirements is wholesale, and I'm going to recommend that you have at least $2,500, and this is pretty low. You're not going to be able to place a whole bunch of POs with this. Like, you're going to get one PO with this with a wholesaler, but it's a good start for sure. Wholesale, my average ROI is 40%. It's a little higher than online arbitrage. Online arbitrage, I'm able to find some really good coupon deals, and that's what I do mostly there. Wholesale, you're going to be able to just get wholesale prices. It's a little less cumbersome than having to deal with a bunch of different websites and return policies and all that kind of stuff if you're just working, professional relationships with a wholesaler. So if you got that 40% ROI on your $2,500 starting out, that's going to be about $1,000 a month that you'd be gross profiting off of that, minus your software costs and all that good stuff. And with wholesale, it's really easy to spend your capital. I would say it is, you're going to need Keepa as well. You're also going to need Be Cool to go ahead and capture those buy box, just like we talked about with online arbitrage. But the thing with wholesale is you're going to need to know Amazon very well. The kind of sellers they're going to work with are experienced sellers. You're going to want to be able to offer real value to those suppliers, because that's going to land you those accounts. And it's also for your own safety that you know Amazon really well if you're starting out in wholesale, because that $2,500 is probably going to be 1, 2, maybe 3 products that you're going to buy in bulk. And if you mess up your sourcing decision, if you don't check the Keepa correctly, if you don't know how to read Keepa, things that you could do, things that you would learn how to do from doing books and online arbitrage as a learning process. If you don't know how to do those things, you could make a really expensive mistake in wholesale. So it's not only for the benefit of getting those suppliers, knowing what you're talking about, being able to offer value to them, it's also just to cover your own butt, and to make sure that you're not going to lose that initial capital that you've spent in this business. And I would say that wholesale has maybe the highest upfront time cost before you get anywhere with it, because you're going to have to email suppliers, you're going to have to set up a website, you're going to have to do all kinds of different things to go ahead and maybe look like a legitimate business. You're going to need your LLC or corporation, you're going to need your resale permit. So the time cost up front is going to be pretty high. But in the long run, you're just going to be able to email or call your suppliers and say, hey, I need 100 more units of this, 200 more of this, and in 15 minutes you're done. You've spent another 10K. And that is the name of the game in wholesale, is build those relationships, put all the work up front, and then eventually you're going to be able to systemize that pretty easily, or even outsource that to a VA or an employee or something like that, so that you're able to step back from your business and really just watch the machine that you've built cycle through that capital. So I hope you found this video useful. I tried to add my own little spin on the requirements for each business model to maybe add a little extra value to that. If you disagree with my capital requirements for these, I'm happy to talk about that down below. I'm always down to learn from you guys. If you want to check out Be Cool or any Scout IQ or any of the softwares, I usually can get you guys some deals on those if you want to check out the links below, and that also helps me out. But that is going to do it for this video. Thanks, guys.